The results of the Common University Entrance Test, popularly CUET, have just been declared. This is for admission to undergraduate courses starting this year. Around 257 institutions have participated or are accepting the scores of CUET. These include 44 central universities, 44 state universities, about 134 private universities, 32 deemed universities, and 3 other institutions. So compared to 90 institutions which accepted CUET scores last year for admission, this number, 257, is a 3-fold increase. So that is quite commendable. Some of the universities, like the central universities, accept nothing except the CUET scores. So CUET is becoming the norm for admission to undergraduate courses across the country. And over time, most universities will accept only CUET scores for admission. Now, CUET has also become the second largest exam in India after NEET. About 11 lakh students, 1.1 million students took the exam this year for undergraduate courses, compared to about 9.9 lakh students last year. And this exam was conducted across 295 centers in India and 17 centers abroad in 3 shifts. So it's a widespread exam conducted over 2 months between May and July, and it is now the norm for admission in many universities. Has CUET become the much anticipated game changer for admission process to undergrad courses in India? Now, before answering the question, we need to understand why CUET has been set up in the first place. Why was CUET brought in? Now, it so happens that in top colleges across universities, particularly in favored universities like the Delhi University, the scores required in board exams, the cutoff marks required in board exams to gain admission to top colleges had become scarily high. It close to 100% in some colleges for many courses. CUET was introduced to eliminate this competition based on cutoff marks in board exams, which had gone through the roof, paving the way for a more equitable kind of a selection process across boards, and also streamlining the admission process across the country. So there were multiple aims, but to eliminate the scarily high cutoff mark-based board exam results for admission. Now, has CUET achieved that aim? Well, not really. Now, why do I think so? There are 2 reasons why I think so. The first is, ironically, the extraordinarily high scores in CUET itself. Over 22,000 students got 100 percentile in CUET this year. Over 2.54 lakh students got 95 and above percentile in CUET. Not just that, the cutoffs in CUET are as high as the cutoffs we had in the board exams. Take, for example, the Delhi University. The cutoff required for CUET is anticipated. The Delhi University admission process is commencing in the next few days. The cutoff marks required for CUET in some colleges ranges between 98 and 100 percentile for popular courses in BA, BCom, and BSc Honors. So an exam that was set up in response to impossibly high percentages in Class 12 board exams demanded for college admission is proceeding exactly in the same direction. Now, how is this different from the 12th class marks-based selection process the universities had before CUET was introduced? We don't know. I'm not sure if it is any different. It is just that the pain point of very high cutoffs has been shifted from the board exam-based selection to CUET-based selection. That's all. Is this really a reform? I'm not sure. Now, in addition to not being any different from the board exam-based high cutoff selection process, there is one negative element that the CUET has brought in. which is coaching centers. Now, coaching centers have sprung up across the country, offering to train students to crack the CUET. So success in CUET will be essentially based on the ability to crack patterns, because the coaching centers will put the students through exercises of cracking patterns, enormous exercise experience in cracking patterns, not really making them any more intelligent, but making them very good in cracking patterns. So over time, CUET will not test the candidates' intelligence, critical thinking abilities, or aptitude, but it will test pattern cracking skills, which come with the practice that the coaching centers will offer. Now, anybody will tell you that coaching centers are not free. Coaching centers are expensive. So this also makes CUET an examination for people who have money to spend. That was not the case with the board exams. Now, what is the way forward? Abroad, it is common for colleges to demand a statement of purpose, something like a statement of purpose or a letter for admission from the prospective student. For experienced professors, it is not that difficult to separate a genuine statement of purpose from a fake one. Now, this is taken along with scores, academic scores in the exams and school exams. It is also take the entrance test, standardized entrance test scores are also taken into account. Often interviews are conducted, extensive interviews about the students' interests and the choice of subject. Now, all this finally go into the decision making and deciding whether the student will fit into a particular course or college. It's a holistic process which looks at the academic intelligence, interests, as well as the student's potential to learn and to contribute in the chosen field. Now, this is not only abroad. Some new universities in India are also adopting multi-dimensional selection process. In one case that I know of, a topper from a school who fared very well in the entrance test to a private university did not get selected after the interview because the university thought that the topper did not evince enough interest to pursue the subject. That was some kind of a plan B for the topper, even though she cracked the entrance test. So the university rejected her. So another private university conducts a day-long intensive interaction session with students to assess them before offering seats for their undergraduate programs. Some other universities conduct tests to check the students' abilities to organize, to synthesize, to articulate on topics, on any given topic, how well they express their thoughts and opinions counts, and all that go into the selection process. So all kinds of better options exist. Sure, it's going to be very difficult to set up a fair process on a mass scale. Now, we are talking about 64 colleges in Delhi University alone, with offering about 70,000 seats. So imagine other universities. That we are looking at a really large scale. So how does such a subjective process work? Testing students' potential for learning, interests, domain-specific abilities, critical thinking abilities, and so on, and arriving at decisions to select or reject is not going to be easy. But remember, universities across the world are doing this. So if we want Indian universities to get the right minds with the right aptitudes in the right courses, there is no option but to create alternatives to ensure broad-based and equitable selection process. As of now, CUET does not seem to be delivering.